Because by then, what would have happened? She's got to get intercepted.
Yeah.
Done. A 2, a 3 and a 2. Let's go. Go again. Well, you felt you held on to the ball for too long. All right. Ready? Okay, go on then. So we work in quite an unorthodox manner, which actually suits the way in which Chris Ramsey works. So he has a responsibility across the academy. In addition to that, he works with the first team. So my role involves a lot of admin as well as coaching. I assist Chris with a lot of the admin part and the logistics part of his head of coaching role. It involves me being on the pitch, so I have the beauty of being able to work across the phases. So I could work with the under-9s on the Monday, I could be with the under-13s or the under-14s on the Saturday. So I get to work with a range of age groups, which is great because that also allows me to learn and develop with regards to the academy programme and development pyramid. In addition to that, I get to know all the players, which is great. It also involves me working with Chris to help cement the philosophy that he's got in place. So that could be working alongside the coaches to help execute and deliver the plan. I also am involved in the scheduling. So that could be looking at the deployment of staff alongside working with Chris and Alex. So that's across the 9s to the 16s. Planning, so with regards to planning, Chris has stock practices that we work from, which link to our strength-based capability programme and our development pyramid. My job then is to put his ideas to paper and communicate that with the staff. In terms of my journey in, I came in as a former deputy head, but I qualified as a head teacher, and I spent 10 years in education before I took a career change. So being able to manage a department, being able to help manage people was pretty much what I was used to. So I've always had a passion for football ever since I was a child, and I grew up playing football with my twin brother. But growing up in the early 80s, women's football certainly wasn't what it looks like now. And I think the women's game and the pathway for young girls is definitely in a much better place, and certainly didn't exist when I was growing up. Also growing up in a time where not only were there very few pathways and opportunities for women and girls, there were also very few girls from South Asian communities playing football. And for my mum, it was difficult for her to recognise football outside of school. In addition to that, being Indian, she didn't see any Indian girls playing, and there would be a lot of people, from within the community, family members at the time, making comments around, she's always in a tracksuit, she's a little bit of a tomboy, football, what football for an Asian girl, and it wasn't seen as the done thing. It certainly wasn't conforming. Unfortunately for me, I soon realised that playing football certainly wasn't going to be in my lifetime. So that was pretty much that. And from my love of child development, I thought, actually, I might quite enjoy becoming a teacher. And that's where my pathway went. And I never thought I would be a coach. That wasn't even in my mindset. I just thought, this is great. I love working with young people. I have a passion for working with children. And what a wonderful experience I'm going to have. When I was 18, my brother suffered from a mental health breakdown because of bullying, and I disconnected myself from football for a long time because it brought back the memories of us playing together. And his condition was so severe that he was sectioned, and then over a period of time, it was such that where he didn't even know who we were. Like I remember celebrating our 21st in a psychiatric unit, and everyone's asking you to be really happy, except you're standing next to somebody who you're born with that doesn't even know who you are. And it was tough, and I just didn't want anything that reminded me of my brother in my life, because I was angry. I was angry that people could be so horrible, and I couldn't understand it. And, you know, again, coming from a South Asian community, mental health wasn't spoken about. We're talking about 22 years on now. There's more open dialogue and conversations, and I think it's really important and much needed, but it's not where we need it to be. So we were 18, you have no idea what's going on, you know, no prior experiences of what depression, and he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, what that is, what that looks like. Like I said, it was hard because me and my brother did everything together. So you're so used to being joined at the hip, you're used to sharing experiences. You know, we went out together as well with friends, and to not be able to do that when you've done that for 18 years of your life is tough. And someone once said to me, it's almost like you're grieving a loss, because although my brother has been living with us for a while at home, and I made a commitment to my mum, and I'd honour that commitment, because my brother needs absolute one-to-one care. So we have the carers, as well as myself, my mum and dad, and my sister's help as well. But, you know, to see somebody suffer every day and know that there's absolutely very little you can do to change it other than to keep going. What kept me driven was the very fact that I knew he loved football. And I thought, what I can't let happen is him not being able to fulfill some of the things that he would want to fulfill. And maybe that might have to be through me at the moment. And because I do live in hope, and I hope that he's able to speak to me again, because his condition is such that he hasn't verbally communicated for about 18 years, other than to the voices he hears. So you develop as a person. It certainly developed me as a teacher and as a coach, with regards to having empathy, being open-minded, being versatile and adaptable. And I think here, had it not been for Chris, I wouldn't have been given an opportunity. To have someone like Chris.
Well, I mean, I think the importance on someone's career is basically on what they're prepared to learn, and how they're prepared to assimilate within the whole culture. I was quite taken back by her story and her tenacity to change professions, because she wasn't a deputy head. It was quite lucrative for her at that time, and she had a personal story which made her change her profession and a passion for football. So I was quite impressed with how she was, and it's been difficult for her. I'm not going to say it's not, because, as you know, football is a very sexist sport, and her coming into it with her stature and her lack of playing career has made it very, very difficult for her. But she's fought hard to get herself embedded into the club.
Yeah, when I got the letter for the MBE, initially me and my mum thought it might be a car fine. So we opened it up and I couldn't believe it, and we were both very emotional, and it was certainly a testament to the struggle and the journey. And I talk about hope, because and the first thing that went through my head was, we have to keep going. And this was, football wasn't even into the mix of my thought process. It was very much, as a family, we have to keep going. And the very fact that it was acknowledged for football and diversity, for me, meant that it was another boost of motivation to keep striving for equality and equity for all.
She really deserves that. I mean, that's for her, the way that she's been and the things that she's been through in her life and how she's come into a professional football club. She's probably one of the only female lead coaches in the game, and she's slowly commanding the respect that she deserves. I learned a lot about tenacity. I mean, myself and Alex Carroll, who's been a major part of her journey as well. We always talk about how she has helped us really to open our mind a little bit more to unconscious bias regarding sexism and stuff like that. So she's very, very efficient at her job, and and if she doesn't know, she asks. But she just really, really wants to be the best she can at the job.
I think football has a long way to go, particularly when we're thinking about redressing the balance with regards to women and female coaches in particular. I think that we look at QPR as an example of best practice and good practice, but as a club overall, you've got people from all walks of life that do different jobs, but also heads of department. We've got such a diverse board that I think we're very unique in the way that we work. I mean, how many clubs have a black technical director, head of coaching, or a director of football? And diversity is more than just about race, skin colour, sexual orientation, gender. It's also about embracing diverse skill set. And that's what I think this club does well, because it looks beyond what people see and beyond what you look like. It's very much based on who's going to be the best for the job or who has the potential to be developed. And like I said, for someone like me, I'm on a journey. I didn't come in, and I certainly am not the finished product or the finished article, and I'm on a journey to where I want to be and being the best that I can be, and being in an environment that nurtures and facilitates growth, I think is great. And certainly a club like QPR has embedded diversity and inclusion because people feel included. As a football fraternity, we need to do more and keep striving for more in order for us to actually feel like we, and I say we, are on a level playing field to anybody else, and that we have an opportunity to go for jobs without feeling as if we're going to be sidelined just based on what we look like.
I think it's really important that we do seek more role models like her, and I think that she'll be only too happy to induct people into getting into a football club and overcoming the difficulties of assimilating within a football club and gaining the respect of the people that are there. So I think it's really important that one, we embrace her talents, but also that she continues to act in the way that she is.
I feel that I have a responsibility in ensuring that I can also assist in the process. And I think that's important because in order to see and create change, we need decision makers to embrace diversity and inclusion. If we don't have decision makers that are open-minded to diverse skill set and diverse culture, we won't see change. So you do need people who are active change makers to help that happen. And I would hope that by me being in this role, or me being in the position that I am, that I can help, along with others, create the way for other people, so that it does make it easier for them, whether that's a female or not.